And if you're a hockey fan in this country, you already know Steve Dangle, Glenn. He turned a viral 16-second post online. It's snowballed into now a very successful stint in hockey media. And in his latest book, Hockey Rants and Raves, he takes on some of the biggest beefs in the sport and solves them. In some cases, some serious and sometimes a little bit out there. But Steve, welcome to CB24 Breakfast. Good to talk to you about this book. I just finished reading it over the weekend. You're kind of really, I know you're a diehard Leafs fan, and I don't necessarily want to get into Leafs exclusively here, but why did you decide, instead of like ranting and like talking on YouTube and social media, why did you decide to put your thoughts down to pen and paper?
Well, I mean, people will pay you for that, so that made it much easier. Yeah. but it's also it's just a different medium. Yeah, you know, it allows you to get more in depth, and there's also a finality to it. Like on YouTube, I can have one opinion one week, and then the next week I'll be like, "Wow, what an idiot," or you know, I figured it out, or whatever it is. With the book, there's a lot more pressure, and I like the challenge. Like we were just talking about the goalie Mount Rushmore
exactly,
chapter.
And that was the chapter I was going to pick up on, because that chapter in particular really goes in depth on definitely the best goalies in the game. But some of the ones you leave off the list there, that'll be controversial as well. Totally. Was that the chapter perhaps that gave you the most pressure? Because everyone loves to argue about who's the best goaltender. It
was the chapter that I was like, okay, once I'm done writing this, I'll believe that I could actually get to the end of this book. To me, it's the quintessential hockey argument. Like if you're a big hockey fan, there's probably something around like, is Wayne Gretzky actually the greatest player ever? Yeah, probably. So. And that's in the book as well. But for the goalie Mount Rushmore, like, you got to put some stringent rules on it, because you always have a friend who's like, well, my Mount Rushmore is these 5 guys. No, 4 guys on Mount Rushmore.
It's got to be exactly, yeah.
So it was 4 players from across eras, but I left some creativity and basically said, if you're going to have definitive 4 guys, it has to be from this group of 7. There's some honorable mentions in there. And it's basically the goal of the book and that chapter and every other chapter in it is fun. It's not so that you can look at your buddies and call them dumb for not having the same opinion as you, although you can. It's about, you know, it's not about old looking down at young looking down at old. It's about coming together over hockey.
Yeah, I kind of feel like this is the kind of book where if you've kind of if you know hockey, you kind of know the content, or at least understand the content a bit better, but it can kind of prepare you for maybe the bar stool chat / argument if you're in the bar watching the game and just want to sort of bring it up with someone. This book kind of prepares you for that. What I love about your book too is the sports memorabilia. You are unabashedly, unapologetically into that as well. And some people, you know, oh, sports memorabilia, what's that all about? You make a really compelling case for collecting memorabilia.
Absolutely. Like, listen, there are some people who have enormously expensive collections, and listen, that's a conversation between you and whoever you live with and share the bills with. I understand that, but like to me, what gives value to a piece of memorabilia isn't the financial value of it, it's the sentimental value. So for me, I have, you know, those little figures that come in a box, and I have 80 of those hanging around my blue room where I shoot my videos.
With stories and pictures too.
Exactly. There's a picture of me with all but 3 of the athletes. One of them is Austin Matthews, and I do have pictures with him, but the photo that I have above it is me with his parents.
Right.
Because they came up to me at a hockey game, Game 3, 2018 against the Bruins. He scored the game-winning goal on that one. I'm a sick puppy. If you have something that means anything to you, to me, that's the most valuable piece of sports memorabilia in the world. Like, you know, my son Leo, who I know is watching. Hi, Leo, behave. We took him to see Shohei Ohtani, and you know, when he was still with the Angels, and that program from that represents so many things to me. Like, one day I'm going to be able to tell him, you know, once Ohtani is part of that all-time great conversation at the end of his career, I went out of my way to be the best dad ever. And bring you to a Shohei Ohtani game, even though I knew you wouldn't remember it. Like, you
can say you were there, though.
I wanted to be able to say, you saw one of the greatest ever.
Yeah, listen, Steve.
And the Jays.
Really enjoyed this book. Love your passion for the Leafs as well. Pleasure to meet you, Steve.
Thanks
so much.
Good luck with
this. Thank you very much.